Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And I get to tell you, I get to have so many adventures of my lifetime, but none of the adventures that I have in my lifetime are anywhere good as the adventure that we're about to have in this lifetime right now.
Woo!
Does that sound like a AI thing? Or we're going to meet a person by the name of Randi Bowslaugh, and she is, of course, an author, and she is a kickboxing champion, and she is an autism advocate, and she is all kinds of other different things that AI doesn't even know what they are yet.
Yep, that sounds about right. You got the robot voice down.
Good. I'm going to lose it now because that's not cool. Randi Lee, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome, thank you. It is. We are expecting to have another guest with us today. His name is John, and he's having computer internet problems, which
some troubles
we all do from time to time. And you'll let me know if I. No,
I will definitely let you know if you.
It is so nice to see you again. I miss seeing you from time to time. It's so great that you came back. It's like a wonderful dog that just keeps coming back.
Dogs are cute and fluffy. I can accept that. Yep.
But you're more than cute and fluffy. You're also smart. You're intelligent, and you can kick my ass.
True. Yes, all of those things.
Now, some people would say, "No, come on, she's just a girl. She can't kick your ass." And say, "Yes, she can. She can actually kick me in other places than that, and she can kick me in the head if she chooses to."
Yeah, right smack in the face. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, and so we are going to see real quick here. We're going to hope, and let's okay. We're going to get our little rugs out, and we're going to pray to the east, and we're going to hope that this internet connection is better. And John Verico is with us today. John, how are you?
I don't think so.
It is a wonderful picture of him.
It's really fantastic, actually. Yeah.
And I love his shirt.
Right? I don't think I've seen a better picture. Like, that's amazing.
Indeed. While we're waiting for him to come back, and hopefully he will, like, oh no, he's back. Johnny, back?
Can you?
I can do a lot of things. Hear you ain't one of them. So we're working on that. John, how are you? Well,
he's fantastic.
Can you kind of be his ventriloquist?
I could totally do that. That's a skill I've never learned before. Okay, hold on, let me practice. Hello, my name is John, and I am feeling great.
Perfect. That's exact. Up. And John has gone again. So I'm so sorry. We would work so hard to put this together, and because I wanted him to meet you, because you have been, and will be one of my favorite guests. Yay. And I just love who you are. This is my
favorite show.
Well, except for your own favorite show.
Mine, obviously, but I mean to go and be a guest on.
I know, but let's talk. The one thing that we don't do a lot of is we haven't talked a lot about your show. So we're going to make this episode all about you.
Ooh.
Your podcasting, your authorship, all of those things, including the fact that you have a new one on its way out. You're birthing a new book.
Yes. Doesn't hurt nearly as much as birthing a child.
I wouldn't know, actually.
I'm letting you know.
I have seen. Well, I was married at one time and we had 2 children. I cannot. There are 2 things that I came away from that with. Number one, I cannot believe how unbelievable the human body is at changing shape.
Yes.
And the other thing is, I can't believe how much pain that must be in. That must be.
And you don't ever want to.
Boy, I can tell you that. Well, fortunately, I don't have the equipment, and nor will I be getting the
Me
equipment.
neither. Anymore.
Well, what do you do? But anyway, tell me what you're doing with your podcast.
Yeah. So, for those who don't know, it's called the Write or Die Show. There's a secondary component of the Write or Die Show, which I'll talk about, which is Bedlam Beyond Mental Illness. Although I might call it Behind Mental Illness because that's what I've been saying a lot lately and kind of like it more. Anyways, so the Write or Die Show has been going strong for 3 years now.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, I know you've been doing yours longer, but a lot of people don't even hit it past a month. All right.
Well, there's that thing they call podcast fade.
Yes.
Which is, this ain't what I thought it was.
You mean I'm not a millionaire after 2 days? What?
I thought I was going to get 1 million episodes a week and or 1 million listeners a week, and it just doesn't happen.
Takes a lot of time. So yeah, 3 years, over 200 episodes now. And I talk to different writers. So sometimes it's an author, could be a screenplay writer, a songwriter, tons of different writers. If you have written something, that works. So I talk to people from across the world who have written stuff. Oh, hi, Marnie. And we talk about mental health from personal journeys, because mental illness it's worldwide. Like it is. So it's really cool to talk to all those people. And so recently, I think we've done 4 episodes of the Bedlam. So that one, my best friend, who also co-authored my second book, A Mother's Truth. Look at those hearts. I love them. Her and I, we do a podcast called Bedlam Beyond Mental Illness. And one of us researches while the other person tells us all about these facts. So we look at the history of mental illness, and then the other person gets to learn these new things, and it's so exciting. So she does most of the research ones. I like to listen better. But I did the one on bipolar and lobotomies. Oh, lobotomies was so interesting.
Have you ever heard the expression, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than have to have a frontal lobotomy?
I have not, but I like it.
One of my old favorite sayings is, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than
instead of
a frontal lobotomy.
Exactly.
My grandfather used to tell me that. Keith, hey,
you're back, and you're not going.
I don't know what you did. It was magical.
I was miming.
I ventriloquist for you a little bit. It was fantastic.
I appreciate that so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
It was great. It was great fun. John is working with us, and he's going to co-host a bunch of shows. As a matter of fact, we've got a gentleman on tomorrow who he's brought here to us, and so I'm going to sit back and watch him work as he talks with this gentleman and stuff. So, but it's great fun. And by the way, John, Randi Lee also has a podcast, and we've been talking about that a little bit, and she's got different things that she's an author and all that kind of stuff. And we'll get into all of that, but she is just,
I've actually read some info about you, Randi Lee, leading up to this, because I was very much looking forward to this.
Yes. If you Google my name, I'm like 3 first pages of Google. And I'm like, Mom, thank you for giving me a unique name. 20 years ago, I was like, Mom, you gave me a boy's name. What the heck?
Well, there's something about Randy's and kickboxing that seem to go together.
I mean, they're
and I'll make the connection for you. I don't know if you heard of Randy Blake, Randy Boom Boom Blake, 5-time world champion kickboxer.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm really bad with names of
stuff.
But that's very cool.
I know you're a kickboxer.
I was. I don't do it so much anymore because my body decided to on me. But I've been working on ways to try and get back. I was practicing with my husband the other day. He was holding pads with me. And then I couldn't walk for 3 days after. Like, well, this isn't working well. I need a new plan.
Pacing, my dear, pacing.
Well, it's the I think I figured out because my plantar fasciitis flares up a lot when my calves get tight, and in kickboxing, you're a lot on the balls of your feet. So I don't know how I'm going to manage to be on the heels of my feet because that's going to be really weird and strange. But I think that's what I need to figure out how to do.
Well, I hope you don't fall over backwards when you're on the heels of your feet.
That's why I have to practice first before I get punched doing it.
I tell you, well, did you, now I know this is a stupid question, but did you enjoy the punching or the getting punched more?
The kicking. Which wasn't even in your question, but the kicking part.
Oh yeah. I was a boxer.
I know, but when we would practice just boxing skills, oh my gosh, it was not a good time.
Well, they're different things altogether in their fields, and
I didn't do either of those things because I didn't like getting hit, and I've got short arms, so I couldn't really make an impact. So I was a wrestler.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And he was in the lower weight class wrestlers when he was in high school, and because they all have different weight classes, and he was in the weight class that they don't have very many people competing in because nobody's that little.
Now you're just being mean.
Well, John, how much did you weigh when you graduated?
I was little. When I graduated high school, I weighed 110 pounds. I was 5'3".
Oh my!
But when I first started wrestling, I was 94 pounds.
Holy moly! Yeah. I was kickboxing at 112, and I thought that was tiny.
Yeah.
Woo.
So they didn't even have.
Yeah, no, they called me the Mighty Mosquito. Yeah.
Hey, M&Ms are great.
So did you do well when you were in wrestling in high school, John?
I was unpinnable. I was really, really small, but okay. So what happened really quick, because this is not my show, but I'm really quick. What happened was I was this little skinny runt, and the coach just looked at me and laughed and said, "You need to get in the weight room and start working out." And so I walked in there, and all the big guys like Kevin were just, they were dominating the barbells and stuff and the bench presses. I couldn't get near the equipment, like nobody else did. And I got these massive, muscular Popeye legs, and my upper body still looked like olive oil. And so, I didn't have the upper body strength to take anybody down or to hold them down and pin them, but my legs were so strong that I could get out from under them. So I was unpinnable.
Okay.
So I was known as the Mighty Mosquito because I was small, I sucked, and I mostly got swatted. But I became known for being unpinnable.
With that's a much better thing than being scrawny and all those other things you were saying. Being unpinnable, that's where you got to keep it.
Yeah, keep it happy.
That's where it was. You
positive.
You find the positivity wherever you.
We were doing so well too.
We were.
John, we're Captain.
We got an issue.
Yeah, my internet signal is on drugs tonight or something.
Well, maybe there somebody in your neighborhood is using up more bandwidth than they're supposed to.
Oh, jerks. Don't they know that you're supposed to be recording right now?
It could be the oncoming storms. So I'm just I'll just sit here and listen, and when I can, I will chime in. How's that?
Perfect. Perfect. So, but Randy Lee, there's several things I wanted to ask you because you're doing a mental health show.
Yes.
And I was talking to, now you're in Canada, so
I am in Canada.
You guys are a lot more enlightened than us knuckle draggers down here in the States.
I don't know if I would say that, but okay.
Well, but I keep getting told, because I don't know if you know this, you probably do. There was another mass shooting in Georgia a couple of weeks ago. There was another mass shooting last week. We're having more mass shootings than we have days.
We just have people pretending with water guns and stuff. We had somebody today went to the local college with a pretend gun because we can't get our hands on the real ones, so we just use pretend ones. So not as scary, but like you're still like breaking the law.
Well, but that's rather stupid. You get to the pearly gates, and it was like, St. Peter, I'm so sorry. And he said, why would you go and get shot with a toy gun?
I know, but that happened today. That was what was playing on the radio when I was at work talking about how they went to the local college. Somebody was arrested for having a toy gun there. And like last week, somebody was arrested for waving around a water.
You have to wonder, why did they?
I don't know.
You have to wonder, what were they even thinking about bringing one of those? You have to wonder, what are they thinking about bringing a real gun? But what do you hope to accomplish with a toy? I don't know.
So, but to finish my thought about guns and stuff is that that's all right. That's all right, because it's an uncomfortable subject. But I was talking with a gun owner the other day, and he said, it's not the guns. The guns are nothing more than a tool. And I said, okay, I can agree with that. He said, it's the people that are crazy. And I said, well, then why do we allow crazy people to have guns? And he said, it's not that we allow them to, they just have them. And it's like, then we've tried the red, what they call a red, John, help me here, red something or other law, where you can actually have somebody have their guns taken away, but you got to go to court and all that kind of stuff. Red flag law and red flag laws. Those don't work.
Flag, yeah.
Yep. Those don't work. Nobody wants to take somebody to court to take their guns away from them. That they get, by the way, can get back. So you're in mental health. We have mental health people that should not have guns, or they need help. How do we get help when we don't want to pay for it in this country?
That's a great question. I don't have an answer. No. So I think that's a big words. Okay, so I think that's a really big loaded question. So first off, I do think you guys are a little lax on your gun issues down there. I don't know if we're too stringent, but I mean, not as easy to get one up here as it is down there. So, take that with however you want. But as far as getting help for a mental illness, I think for the longest time, and this comes back to the stigma of mental health and mental illness, is that I don't want to admit that I have a problem in my brain. I can fully admit to have a problem with my knee, with my back, with my whatever, because somebody can physically see that. So I'm okay with admitting that, and therefore I'm okay with paying for that. However, I don't want to admit that I am mentally ill, whether it's something small or something big. Something is wrong. You have some kind of illness. And so by not wanting to admit it, I don't want to get help for it because I don't want to admit it. Therefore, I'm not paying for it. It's very similar up here because mental illness assistance, like the help that's actually needed, is not covered. I mean, people praise our healthcare system, but it sucks. It really sucks. But people often don't want to pay for it, can't afford it even. Or again, I'm not going to go to get help because I don't need the help. I'm not a crazy person. And I think that's part of the biggest problem, is that they are looking, just like you said, that guy, the gun owner said, it's the crazy people. Well, here's the thing. Most people that have mental illness don't look crazy. We don't look like we have a mental illness, but we do.
That is so true. John, can you talk, young man?
I'm gonna try like heck. So it's so true. The thing is, we keep referring to these things as illnesses, and just like post-traumatic stress disorder, right? We refer to it as a disorder. Well, it's a disorder. Well, something's wrong with me. So people even themselves think, oh, there's something wrong with me. I have a disorder. Or people treat each other like they have a disorder. There's something wrong with that person. And instead, if we look at it at what it truly is a post-traumatic stress injury, and I think changing that mindset, changing that perspective can really be helpful. If we stop calling these things, disorders and being crazy or having an illness, we have to start looking at these things as if they are something that is helpful or helpable or curable.
Yeah. Well, and I agree and disagree. So I'm gonna play both sides. I really do like calling certain mental health conditions injuries, as PTSD is brought on by a traumatic experience. So that is an injury for your mind. I really love that. I'm gonna steal it. I'm gonna use it. However, there are other disorders or criteria that aren't caused by something else. You are born with them. Like people with, say, schizophrenia, it really is something wrong in their brain chemistry, right? So that is an illness or a disease or a disorder, however you want to label it, kind of like diabetes. Yes, diabetes could be type 2. It could be brought on by things, but a type 1 diabetic, and I always go back to this one because we're quite versed in it at my house because my husband's a type 1. But he was born with it. That is a disease that he has to live with. It is an illness he has to live with forever. Just like somebody who has schizophrenia. It was something they were born with. It didn't present until they were an adult, but it's something that they're born with. But I do like your PTSD being an injury. Same with things like borderline. Borderline are often caused by other circumstances. So that could be more of an injury to your brain as well. No, injury to your brain sounds silly. Injury to your mental capacity? We got to work on that one.
Well, and I will tell you that there's mental.
It's just trying to lift the stigma.
Right, exactly, and it is changing those terms, which is why I keep trying to call things mental illnesses as opposed to you have a mental health condition, because I don't say I have a physical health condition.
I do. No, I'm kidding. But I did want to make
I have a condition.
I have many conditions.
I have many. Ask my ex-wife, and I have many more than I'll admit. But there are, at least in our country, there are people that have mental disorders. There are people that have mental conditions. There are people that have mental injuries, and then there are just plain stupid people.
Oh,
can I give you?
Stupid is definitely around.
Can I give you the example of both?
Please do.
This 14-year-old kid, and he'd been talked to. They'd come to his house and they said, "Young man, we think you have a problem. You keep saying that you want to shoot up your school," and so they talked to him about that, and they're trying to figure out and get him mental help. Well, his stupid father decides to buy him a machine gun for his birthday.
Like I said, you guys have really easy access.
So here, son, happy birthday to you. Thanks, Dad. I'm going to school tomorrow. And he ended up shooting people and stuff. And that's Randy Lee, that's the world that we're living in here in the States. This is driving me crazy.
Yeah, there is no perfect place to live, unfortunately.
Oh. But John's house, I understand, is very nice. And give us
Not going there. I collect monster movie memorabilia, and Kevin has become fascinated with my collection. And I haven't set it up in the new house yet, but I had pictures of the old house. and my what a newspaper referred to as my demented man cave.
I
So whenever
love
possible,
it.
Kevin's been bringing it up. We'll have to, if you friend me on Facebook and look at my albums and look at the one that says Demented Man Cave, that album, you'll see the collection.
That's
And now
awesome.
everybody on the planet is going to be looking at my collection on Facebook.
And by the way, John,
or at least a million listeners will.
Exactly. You may be mad at me because Brichelle, who's another team member of ours, and I was talking to her earlier, and she said, "Oh, my grandfather has this thing this stuffed animal thing in a box in his storage compartment, and it's 35 years old, and I can't remember what it's called." She said, and I said, and he picked it up at an auction 35 years ago. So who knows how old this monster thing is? It's
That's
maybe cool. in the original box, John, is a Tasmanian devil.
That's so
that's cool.
Whenever I get stuff,
Taz was my favorite Warner Brothers character.
Taz was my nickname when I was little. I'll let you decide why.
I guess you were a whirlwind of energy, weren't you? I think you still are.
Let's put it that way.
Well, and your parents thought, hey, we'll have her be a kickboxer. That'll get the energy out a little bit.
Oh, my mom was so against it. I couldn't do it until I was an adult and could decide for myself. My mom, even when I first started, and I told my mom, and my mom would never go and watch my fights. And she would say to me, "But what if you get hit?" I go, "Okay, then I would hit them back. I don't." Okay. Oh, yeah. No, my mom was so against it when I started.
Well, but you're such a dainty little pretty thing. We wouldn't want you to get hurt.
Yes, well,
how
it happened.
How long were you kickboxing?
10 years. Yeah, about 10 years.
She was a Canadian national champion.
I was a Canadian national champion, and I was on Team Canada. I went to Worlds a couple times, and it was so much fun. I went to Ireland and to Mexico.
I
get to talk to the most unique and wonderful people.
We definitely got it. You definitely have to meet Randy.
Very
the other
cool.
Randy.
Because I tell you, John's got a man cave to kill. You were a boxing champion for 10 years, or a kickboxing champion, and I stay in my little room.
It's a good little room.
You're so kind.
You're fighting a whole different good fight, Kevin.
Exactly.
Well,
fight that positive fight.
That's exactly true. And you know, Randy Lee, since the last time we talked, did I tell you that we're on the Brushwood Media Network now?
You do. I think you had just got on there last time we talked. You
know how many listeners we have on a monthly basis, they tell me, according to Apple?
I do not.
Oh, go ahead and guess. This is the fun part, John. Go ahead and guess.
John said something about 1 million, so I'm going to go with 1 million.
Damn it. You listen well.
I know. I already spilled the beans, Kevin. Sorry.
That's okay. But we're also on the Old People Network, which is babyboomers.org. And we're also on the LA Tribune podcast site. So we're getting to be everywhere.
That's cool. And here I am just on YouTube and Spotify.
But your work that you do is important, especially when you come on this show, because Randy, I told you that, or I told John about you, and I said, she's delightful. And isn't she delightful?
Oh, you just skimmed the surface of that.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, do tell.
Oh yeah, no, it's like super delightful.
Okay.
You just said she was delightful.
Oh, you didn't give me enough delightfulness.
She's beyond delightful.
and she is also, to complete her resume, she's also a mama bear who was the mom because she had a special needs son.
Yes, actually, since we talked last, she's decided to go back to she, her. So,
Oh, very good.
so that's something that's new.
Very good. Is she still going to school?
She
Uh-oh.
wants to. The school is not. So she was in the it's to catch John up. She was in the baking program at the local college. Last week, there was an incident where the teacher said some really inappropriate things. Lev had a bit of a meltdown, said something she shouldn't have said. So, of course, she's being vilified for the last bit, even though had the teacher not done all of those things leading up to it, it never would have got to that point. So it's like a 90-20 split in responsibility, because I like to tell her, well, you still have to own the part that you played, right? You still have to own that. As small as it may have been. So she has actually been trespassed from the college at the moment, and we are trying to get her back in to the school. But they are just very ill-equipped to deal with students with autism. I know another person that has autism. He's 21. I've known him for the past 5 years. They're struggling to let him in as well because of safety issues. Even though, like I said, I've known him 5 years. I teach him kickboxing. I have never seen him hurt a fly. Never. And so they are just so ill-equipped to deal with this, even though they promote themselves of having accessibility and having all of these different things to help the kids. And they are just absolutely not. And today it really felt like they were just trying to get Lev to agree that she just wasn't ready for college, even though she very much is. But anybody put into the position of being backed into a corner and being told to pick between your family or your education, and being told that you have a behavioral problem when you are autistic, they would act the exact same way as she did. 100%. I probably would have been worse in the situation that she was in. Actually, I definitely would have said a lot more things and probably thrown something. But the school is just really fighting it, and yeah, we'll keep you posted on that drama.
The saga continues.
It does. And I really thought, hey, we're now paying for this. We're now a paying customer here, and we shouldn't have to deal with this, but we still are, and it's ridiculous.
It is so sad when a professor who is supposed to be the adult in the room doesn't act like it.
Yeah, exactly. And they keep saying, well, it's an adult learning environment. And I go, okay, well, when an adult says they need to leave the room, they're not told they can't.
Why would they?
It kind of, from my understanding of this teacher, she kind of seems like she's just one of those teachers that's like, respect me, even though I haven't earned it, and even though I'm not giving it to you, I am the best and I am the boss, and you just have to look up to me and do everything I say. She's one of those kind of people.
If I could be so bold.
We run into those kind of people. We run into those kind of people in all walks of life, don't we?
Yeah.
We do. And if I could be so bold, she's teaching a pastry class in a college. She could learn everything she needs to learn from a friggin' book.
At one point, when the teacher said you need to pick between family and education, Lev says, well, college is optional. Not wrong. Not wrong. Especially a baking program. Seriously?
Not wrong at all.
Nope.
When you think you're all that in a bag of chips because you're teaching people how to bake cookies,
Right?
you really need to reassess your lessons in life.
Right. Yeah. So we
though,
we're in a fight.
There's nothing wrong with teaching people to bake cookies. You got to be good at something.
Well,
right. And cookies are delicious.
I agree, but when you hold it up,
where would we be? Where would we be
without cookies? Cookies are 90% of my husband's diet.
Where would we be without people making cookies?
They wouldn't. I don't have any.
I thought he was diabetic.
Oh, he is. He's the worst diabetic you'll ever meet. in his mind, because he's a type 1, as long as I count my carbs and give myself enough insulin, I can eat whatever I want. Yeah, that's his mindset. So yeah.
Well, I don't even know what to do with that.
Yeah.
So now, so let's go ahead, John.
I was going to say, it's like the coronary patient who wants to keep smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about. Shut
You
up.
know, they know they know what's happening. They know the problem it's causing, but oh yeah, I can counter it with this, no problem. Okay.
Yeah, I make fun of him all the time about it, but I don't think it will ever change. So it is what it is.
Well, there is something. Here's one way of looking at it too, right? I know people who always work out and they're exercising and they're eating light and they modify their diet and they deny themselves all these delicious foods because they want to live longer. My point is, why live longer if you're not enjoying it? So, give me the bacon kind of thing.
Right. I know. We walked this fine line in the house because when he was first diagnosed with diabetes, he almost died. He was almost in a diabetic coma. So he almost died. My daughter has attempted suicide, so she's almost died. I have had cancer and then like the full body infection afterwards. So I almost died. So, I mean, we walk this line of let's enjoy the life that we have right now, because at any moment you could die.
That's exactly true.
That is so true. Yeah. Be grateful for the moments that you have and treasure them and make the best of them and enjoy them.
Yeah.
Because you don't know.
Exactly.
And enjoy your time with each other, because as an example, there was a gal that was going to be on earlier today. She had to cancel, but she kissed her husband when her husband was going on a bicycle ride. 5 minutes later, she gets a call. He's been hit by a car. She makes it to the hospital or the ambulance before it left, and he died on the way to the hospital. He had just kissed her and said goodbye. You just don't ever know. You don't.
Know. You really don't. And I mean, you know that my brother died a few years ago, very young. Most recently, my sister actually died last month.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Even younger. And so, because I love your show, so I'm sharing with you. But you just don't know when and who, and you said it, you have to treasure every moment that you can while you can, because life is so insane. Like, you just don't know.
I am so sorry to hear.
You don't. So like I said, treasure every moment, every memory, my wife and I tell each other we love each other probably about 30 times a day. If at a minimum, we just every opportunity, just because don't know what's going to happen when we walk into the next room. I could trip over the vacuum.
Exactly. I say I love you. I say I love you to love all the time. My daughter. And then when my grandson is over, and he does this to me now, because I'll be like, Adrian, yeah, I love you. So he does it to me now. He'll be like, Granny. I'll be like, yep, I love you. Or you're my favorite. Yeah.
That makes you melt all over the floor, doesn't it?
It does. He's almost 5.
I'll give him 5 years. He won't even look at you anymore. That's not true. Grandmommies are a different
grandmas
category.
Are always special.
They are. Grandmas are always special. Exactly. And grandpas are poopy.
But my grandmother's a good example for what we were saying before. My grandmother was told that she had high cholesterol. So she would eat, plain white meat chicken and plain white meat turkey. And here she's 98 years old. I'm like, eat what the heck you want.
Right?
It's
at that point,
the cholesterol that gets you at this hour. Just have the eggs, have the bacon, have the butter, for crying out loud. Just do it. Enjoy it.
Yeah. Wow, 98.
And my mother was the other side of that, spectrum. At 85 years old, she was still singing and dancing and performing in. She was a singer and dancer and performed in senior centers where she was older than half the residents.
That's hilarious.
She was a cougar because she was 85 and her husband 74 because mom was a cougar. Would go and perform in all these senior centers and stuff. And, she was performing and dancing up to 2 weeks before she passed away.
Wow. That's crazy. That's awesome though. I love hearing stuff like
that. She enjoyed every moment when in that later part of her life, she got married at 70 to a guy who was 58 and just enjoyed every moment of that part of her life, and had 280 pairs of high-heeled shoes in her closet because
holy moly,
she did not wear. She wore high heels on the beach. But she said, "This is what I like to do. This is how I like to dress." Mom wore short dresses, and I never saw her wear anything without showing off her cleavage. God bless her. But she said, "This is what gives me pleasure." To bring bring a smile to somebody else's face.
That's awesome.
That's the way she wanted to live, and she enjoyed every moment because she just
John,
don't know.
Did you have like fond memories of her cleavage?
I have fond memories of trying to defend her against all my classmates in high school and college and my teachers who were constantly hitting on her. Yeah, being the little guy in the neighborhood with the hot mom in the neighborhood was not an easy position to be.
No, I'm talking about when you were really little. Do you have any latent memories of those days when they were?
I am old.
Lunch?
I am old, and I don't remember those days.
Oh.
Well, this show took a weird turn.
That's all right,
Kevin, we're going to need a ladder to get up to the gutter, man. Just come on.
You have to understand, when I get the opportunity to let my really weird sense of humor out, sometimes it just kind of goes. You know what I mean? Well, Randy, you've experienced that with me.
And I'm totally cool with it. That's why we have fun.
So there's still somebody who's laughing about that somewhere in this world of what I just said to John. So
if there's a million people, come on, somebody somewhere is.
Yeah. So
yeah,
but before
there's
we
3
go,
or 4 out there laughing.
Exactly. John, Randy is also an author. She's written a couple of books, and she's got one in pre-publication now. Randy Lee, talk about that book and what it means for folks.
Yeah. So it's here, everybody. So it's Thoughts of a Warrior. It is the next book in, I guess, what is now going to be a series. It wasn't planned that way. The very first book I published way back in 2017 was called Thoughts of a Wanderer, book of poetry when I was very depressed. So it's very dark. So this one here, Thoughts of a Warrior, is about coming through that, dealing with that. There's a bunch also dealing with body image and just how to just keep going. So it's a much more upbeat one. And this one has
Is it poetry
pictures.
also?
It is poetry also. And it has pictures. Yeah, I was very much needing. Oh my gosh. So this picture here, where'd it go? Do you know what kind of fish this is?
It's about this big on my screen.
Kevin looks like he's looking real hard. It's a lionfish.
Look,
oh, yeah.
Do it again. Do it. It's a what? I'm sorry.
It's lionfish. So super.
Oh yeah,
super,
lionfish. Yeah, I know those guys.
Yeah. Super, super deadly.
Yes, they are.
We were not scuba diving, snorkeling in Cuba, and there was a dock, and this lionfish was on this side of the dock, and we were snorkeling on this side of the dock, so it was okay because it wasn't going to come near us. But so I took my GoPro though, and I stuck it in the water, which is why the picture looks like it's reflected, because it is. I stuck my GoPro in there to get a picture of it because I'm like, this is so cool. I don't know if I'll ever see one again. So obviously I had to go and look.
Of course.
So.
Of course.
Very cool. I've never seen a lionfish in the wild. They are so beautiful, but yes, very deadly.
Yeah. But very cool to see.
And there's something about the waters in Cuba that have like these. crazy things in them.
Yes. Yeah.
I got my first jellyfish sting in Cuba.
Oh, I have yet to have one. I'm knocking on wood.
It's right after we get out of the water, being chased by a 6-foot moray eel. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going back in the water.
You're scaring me. La, 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 la.
Yeah,
it was exactly.
Cuba. I've been 3 times. I love it. I've never experienced that, so I'm not listening.
Well, this was before Cuba reopened. It was still just the Navy base there.
Oh, okay.
Way back when. You know, Randy, I have to ask you because somebody in our audience is asking me to ask you this. Your husband is diabetic. Your child has autism. You've lost your brother. You've lost your sister. How is it that you have such a powerful love of life, and what keeps you going?
Drugs.
No, we call it medication.
Yes, so I do take antidepressants. And a lot of therapy, a heck of a lot of therapy, because what you just listed is really just the tip of the iceberg.
I know.
So yeah, no, but to be not silly, antidepressants, therapy, and tons of learning different coping strategy, because not every coping strategy is going to work for every person. So I really enjoy hanging out with my animals. I have 3 dogs and 5 cats now. Last time we talked, I only had 4. We have 5. We got a kitten. Hanging out with animals, nature. I really love nature, and of course, my writing. Like so many of my books are nonfiction. So being able to share that, doing my show, talking to other people. Not only do I learn other coping strategies that maybe I've never thought of, but hearing other people's stories really helps put into perspective how everyone has crap that happens in life. Everyone deals with the muck and the gross and the awful. And it's how do we keep going? Because there's definitely been days that I've planned it. I've planned how I was just gonna, right? But how do we keep going? And it's finding those strategies. So finding people you can rely on, finding that person you can talk to, whether it's a therapist that you're paying, a best friend, a spouse, whoever it is, and being able to share and open up and identify what you're feeling. Because if you can't identify it, you can't deal with it. So yeah, there's my not silly answer.
That's a beautiful answer. John?
Oh, Randy, that was so inspirational because it is so true what you said. I mean, we all do get dealt sometimes, some stuff, and we have a choice. We can either wallow in the stench or we can turn it into fertilizer. And having somebody that we can turn to and share with, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable in that sharing really helps us to get beyond. And having somebody that you can trust with that vulnerability is so important. And I know a lot of times people feel as if they're alone, but they're really not. There are so many other people out there who are going through the same thing you are. One of the things that not you particularly, because you've got a whole bunch. No, I'm kidding.
I do.
One of the things I always say. And one of the things we have to keep in mind is that everybody's going through something. And you just don't know what's going on in other people's lives. Behind the smile, behind the cheerfulness or whatever else, there could be a whole bunch of garbage going on. And so because of that, we just need to keep that in mind and just treat everybody with compassion and respect and
exactly.
kindness.
I mean, many times, especially in the world of celebrities, right? There's celebrities that seem perfectly fine on the outside, and then you end up finding out that they have died by their own hand. And you go, but they were so happy. They were whatever. And that's, I think, another really big reason that I am the way I am now, as opposed to how I was, because I am not hiding behind the smile. Now, when people say, how are you doing today? I might look at them and go, do you want that answer? Because it's not a good day. Right? Because if you just keep it all in all the time, eventually you're just going to get exhausted. It is exhausting being somebody that you're not. It is exhausting holding in the pain. It is exhausting to constantly be fighting to keep people from knowing what's actually happening. So for myself, for being able to get it out there through writing, through my podcasting, through interviews like this, I am hopefully giving other people some good tips and some inspiration, but I'm doing it for me. Like, I feel better at the end of it. So it's just that release. And again, that's why talk therapy is such a big deal, because releasing it is huge. The top, other than therapy, the number one coping strategy that people have said on my show, journaling.
Good point.
Get it out. That is the key. Get those feelings out in a constructive way.
I've been told that many times. Ain't done it yet, but I've been told that many times.
Well, get on it.
And then also, you don't have to worry about being judged for those people who.
Exactly. I think. Finish up that sentence, John. It was a good sentence.
I was saying that okay. Well, yeah, what I was saying is that, with journaling, for those people that may not have anybody in their immediate vicinity that they can share with, or feel comfortable enough to be that vulnerable with, the journaling allows them to do that, and they can still keep it as their secret, but they're still getting it out. It still helps them to flow it out. That's what makes
exactly.
difference. Being able to get it out.
There are people that will even tell you, therapists and coaches and stuff, that'll tell you, write an angry letter to whoever it is. Write a scathing, angry, and I mean angry letter, and then take it, read it, and then take it and burn it.
Yes. Yep. That's a big one too. Actually, on the whole writing angry letters, made me think of this. It's not exactly the same thought, but anyways, so I've started using Substack now. So, in addition to my actual books, but I've been posting now as things, it's kind of like my diary now. So if you want to, for anybody, I'm going to self-promote, for anybody who wants to know more about me. But really, when things come up, so like, for instance, when Lev was crying to me on the phone because of one of the incidents at school, I wrote a blog post about autism and meltdowns and versus a temper tantrum. Like, what is the difference? What is going on? How can we help deal with them? Because obviously the person that triggered her has no idea, right? So, if I can spread this message out, I'm going to pop it out there. And so I've been using that more because I realize that, yes, I go on other people's shows and talk about that kind of thing. But on my show, my focus is on the guest, obviously. But sometimes I'm like, I should share this piece of my story, that piece of my story. So I've been using Substack now to share those little bits and little pieces as they come up. So you can go over there and find me.
Well, and thank you for doing that, because, a lot of people feel they're all alone. Yeah. And if you can help them understand, no, there is nothing, this may come as a shock to somebody, but I'm going to say it anyway. There's absolutely nothing that can happen to you that hasn't happened to somebody else before.
Mm-hmm.
And probably much worse than what's happened to you. Yep. So get off of yourself. And sorry, that's my football coach thing coming out. But
but you can learn from it too. You can learn from what other people have been through, and even more so, other people may learn from what you've been through. So share.
Exactly. And you don't have to be scared of yourself and scared of what other people are thinking of you, because that's definitely one of the biggest hindrances, I think, when it comes to either mental illness / injury. But just trying to figure something out, whether it's just one bad day or a series of bad days or a series of events or one bad event. Like, it can be scary to share it out to the world, which is why writing it down is good. But don't be scared to get it out, whether it's getting it out to yourself or getting it out to somebody else. Don't be scared to do it. It's scary, but don't be scared.
It's very.
Have you heard the expression? Have you heard the expression? It'll all be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, it's not the end.
Oh, I think I have, but I don't know if I've heard all the way through. I've heard the first half. I don't know if I heard the second half.
Say that again.
It'll all be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, it's not the end.
I love it. I love it.
That's very good. That's a great bumper sticker too.
It is.
I think we should do that and tag it with Positive Talk Radio and put it out there.
Oh,
do you know we have a store?
I'll let you do that.
You have a store? I have a store too. I didn't know you had a store.
Yes, and we've got some t-shirts with sayings on them and that kind of stuff. And as stuff like that happens, and we continue to amass them. So it really is pretty cool. So, by the way, we these hours go so fast, Randi Lee Bowslaugh. And I wish I had another hour to spend with you, but didn't. And but I want to give you the opportunity to tell our audience anything that you would like them to know before we say adieu.
Well, just to go, if you like Positive Talk Radio, you're going to like my show too. We're very similar in the sense that we're a conversation and we want to share. So head over YouTube, or if you prefer to listen, you can listen on Spotify and all those places, but go subscribe on YouTube. It's called the Write or Die Show.
Great.
Yeah. Write like you're writing something. Write or Die Show. And again, my Substack is just under my name, Randi Lee Bowslaugh. So you can go there and subscribe, follow along there too, because I am sharing more short snippets, more insights into my journey and my struggle. So it's a little bit different than the show. All of my books are on Amazon. This one's on pre-order. And what else? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Randi Lee Bowslaugh. Those are all the things. And the merch store, I didn't know you had one. So we have one too. And cool things keep coming up. So I just dropped 2 new items actually. So one, it says lived experience expert on a brick wall, like graffiti.
Perfect.
And then the other one that just came out, which that was my favorite, but now this is my favorite. It says, "Don't believe everything you think." And Lev designed the picture. So Lev is my daughter. It's a dinosaur with like a camper van coming out of its head.
Oh, cool.
It's very cool.
I need to see this. I'm going to definitely check that out. Anything with dinosaurs is cool. So there.
Right. Well, I went to her. I was, because I'm not much of an artist, but she's a really good artist. So I went to her. I said, "This is the saying. I want there to be a dinosaur because my grandson loves dinosaurs." And she just went with it and came up with the whole thing. And it's very cool.
You are such a supportive mom.
Thanks.
And Randi Lee Bowslaugh has been with us. Go to her website, which is called
rbwriting.ca.
Because she's in Canada, don't you know?
Yeah. Eh?
John, thank you. Have you enjoyed your time here today?
I love it, and thank you for putting up with the technological glitches at the beginning, but hopefully we'll have all those bugs worked out moving forward.
Your presence more than makes up for any difficulties we had, sir.
I just am honored to have been sharing the screen with the marvelous Randi Lee Bowslaugh. And I'm always happy to be on screen with you, Kevin.
Oh, he said that as an afterthought. He doesn't really mean that part. So,
I'm just happy it was first.
Randi Lee Bowslaugh, thank you so much for being here. Your website again is
rbwriting.ca.
And you're going to see a lot more of John Verico. He's going to be on the show tomorrow. And I look forward to having everybody with us in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. So with that, and Randi Lee is always a welcome guest here on this show. She's just amazing. So, and thank you. And I'm sorry for the loss.
Smiling.
That's what my aunt always says every time she gives a birthday card. My birthday is next week, by the way. Every time she gives a birthday card or anything, she puts keep smiling with a little smiley face.
And you had to say that your birthday, and we've run out of time, so we don't even have time to say happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
See ya.
We squeezed it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin@kmmedia.pro.